What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Let's get our show started like this.
Am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name
Cameron.
is
Cam Buford.
Hey, it's Peter Rosenberg. I'm hanging on my man Cameron Buford.
You got some good questions today.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
There's always room for improvement.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
All we want to see every year are the best two mothers getting in the ring and getting on.
I got some of this for you.
Goodness. For me?
Yeah, just for you.
Think about it like this: the promoter pays the fighter, the fighter pays the manager.
Okay.
So the manager works for the fighter, and the fighter works
for the promoter. Okay.
So you are lifting weights currently?
When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with them?
To me, it's easy to score all over the world.
Can I finish?
Do you want me to speak or do you want to conduct the interview and answer for me? Which one?
What do you think about this?
Like I was saying before.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble.
Can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
As the show Voice of the
Oh
Fan
my goodness!
continues to
I'm in
evolve,
tears.
Come on, you were adding some spice to it.
it is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford.
I enjoy all of it.
The real ones know what's going on, right?
Never mind.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
You look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
I'm not caught up to you guys yet. I do
Real, real surprised at that, Ken.
Hey, come here. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, this guy.
That's what's good in sports, man. It's the big Snoop Dogg, man.
That's what's good in sport.
Thank you for making our voice your choice.
If you haven't told your girlfriend about the show, tell her about the show. If you haven't told your boyfriend about the show, tell him about the show. If you haven't told your cousin, your uncle, your grandfather about the show, let everybody know about the Voice of the Fans podcast.
Hey man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do.
Yeah, what's good, fans? I hope you guys letting everybody know about the Voice of the Fans podcast. Won't you please do me a favor? Hit that subscribe button tonight. It doesn't cost anything but some energy. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and then if you're really feeling this, man, hit that share button. Make sure you share this podcast with your folks. But I want to wish you guys a happy Wednesday, March 26, 2025, man. The year is going by. You guys better get your taxes done. It's already tax season here. That's how fast this year's moving on. I wonder, is the year moving that fast for you guys? Go ahead, hit me in the chat or hit me on Twitter @_Voice of the Fans. You can reach me on Twitter @_Voice of the Fans to be a part of this. To be a part of the show. I am checking the comments, so you can be a part of the show that way today. This is solo dolo. It looks like for me tonight. I got a lot of sports to talk about, but I want you guys to be a part of the show. I want you guys to join in. So either hit me on Twitter @_Voice of the Fans, or hit me in the comments on however you're watching the TV. Shout out to the guys at shout out to the guys at HB Media TV. If you're watching it that way, I can still check the comments. Hit me in the comments. If you're watching on the Voice of the Fans on YouTube, hit the comments. I'm in there for you. I want you guys to be a part of the show. As we start off week 333. It looks like we got some interesting things going on. With Diggs showing up with the New England Patriots. What do you guys think about that contract? Diggs going to the Patriots. They obviously had to spend some money. Now they got Drake, who gets a big time quarterback, gets a big time receiver. So good for him. What do you guys think about that? Obviously, they got more work to do in the receiving core in New England, but they needed to get Drake some weapons out there. Do you guys agree with Diggs coming off the knee surgery? I mean, the ACL ain't what it once was, where it's not a career ender, but it's less than a year that he would have, if he makes it to opening or kickoff Sunday when the Patriots start their season, he would be playing in less than a year that he tore his knee up. So that's going to be surprising if he's able to make it that way. But what do you guys think about the Patriots signing Stephon Diggs? Does he have anything left? Anything left to give the Patriots? This is yet to be seen, but I want to get your opinion. So again, be sure to hit me up in the comment section on the post, or hit me up on the hit me up on Twitter. Just to let me know what you guys I'm thinking about. Jameis Winston signs with the New York Giants at quarterback. The New York Giants weren't done with that. They also went out and got Russell Wilson. So does that mean that Shedeur Sanders will not get picked up by the New York Giants? Do you foresee if they're available? Do you foresee the New York Giants picking up another quarterback? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know, but that's going to be strange if they have the pizza maker playing behind Winston and Russell, and then also you throw in Shedeur Sanders in the mix. That'll be pretty interesting. But what do you guys expect to happen in New Orleans? Or excuse me, in New York? What do you guys expect to happen for the Giants? Because they clearly need a quarterback, but to have three back there, I mean, like the old saying goes, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. And with the Giants, they're going to have four men in the quarterback room. I guess clearing the way for Shedeur if they decide to take him at that point. What do you guys think about Cooper Kupp re-signing, or not re-signing, but he's moving on over to the Seattle Seahawks? That'll be very good for the Seahawks for them to run their two wide offense. And him and Jackson Smith and Jig was able to get it done. That'll be pretty interesting to see kind of how this materialize. I think they still need a running back to help their offense become more explosive. So we'll see how that goes. But they got to make up. We got the draft, and we'll get a couple more NFL insiders on the show before the draft time to evaluate what's going on. But yeah, I think the Cooper Kupp signing was good. Hopefully, he has a couple more seasons left, and then him playing besides Jackson Smith and Jigba will be a nice combination, I believe. And if the offensive line can give Sam Darnold some time, that way he can deliver the ball. But I think they need some linemen, a running back in the draft. I need somebody more explosive, more durable than Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker that they have there. So we'll see how that transpires. We'll see how that transpires. What do you guys think about these potential rule changes in the NFL? Is it time to make some adjustments for the rules for the defensive side of the ball? Do you guys think they'll do that? Or, like baseball went so far the way chicks love the long ball, they end up juicing the ball, and it was when they took the juice out of the ball, it was so noticeable. Do you think football is going to go so far the other way? I don't think so. The tush push is not likely to get overturned, though the competition committee has taken a harsh look at it. I will say, from a defensive standpoint, if the offense have never been able to push the ball, I actually thought that was illegal, an illegal play. That's what made the play when Reggie Bush got pushed by Matt Leinart when they ran on the goal line that year, USC and Notre Dame, I think it was. That made that play so controversial because you weren't able to push from the back. And now all of a sudden in the tush push, you're able to push guys and get your whole lineman to be behind you, get your big uglies, your tight ends pushing the running back. That was always illegal before. So I just want to know when the rule change where you can do the tush push and actually get your offensive man to get behind you and push you. Now, if the offense can do it, why can't the defense do it? Why can't the defense get – there are so many rules now between where the defensive men can line up, how the defensive men can't touch the center. If on the field goal kick specifically, like the defensive men cannot hit the gap, cannot jump the gap, cannot touch that center. Well, the tush push is kind of unfair to the defense if you looked at it like that because, once again, I bring up, pushing your offensive man used to be illegal. All of a sudden, it became illegal. From a defensive standpoint, that rule needs to be looked at a little bit harder because you can't – if the defense can't push the offensive men, why should the offensive men be able to push the defensive men? Now, when I say push them, like get behind your player and push them. Why don't you get behind a couple big D linemen and start pushing them, and that'll clog the hole. But you can't – that pushing is illegal on the defensive side of the ball. So it should be illegal on the offensive side of the ball. That's my stance pretty clearly on the tush push. Not that I think it's a legal, a bad call. I understand why the Eagles do it. You get down to 31, 32. It's an easy play to call, and you guys have a high success rate of doing it. However, it is illegal in the sense that they've never in NFL history been able to push the linemen until just recently. I'm not sure when that rule changed. And if the defense can't push, like the offensive men can push their guy forward, defensive men should be able to push their guy forward. And then, again, if they allow that, I say the tush pushes, there's no problem with it, but they don't allow that. So that's my only concern with the tush push. That's one of the rule changes that they were looking at this week. And give me your feedback on that, fans. What do you guys think? Should the tush push be? You heard Eric last week say no, without a doubt that rules shouldn't be changed. But I'm not sure if Eric was looking at it the way I just presented it to you guys. Instant replay to advise the on-field officials on specific objective play in or play out addresses game administration issues. Now that's going to be curious. You can't start reviewing plays. Like they're going to have to be super quick. They can't. They only got 24 seconds to get the ball off. Excuse me, not 24 seconds. They have 20 seconds to get that ball off. Now, they're going to have the ref, if they're talking about reviewing it, is going to be a timeout. There's always enough stoppage in the game, but if you guys want to stop the game to review a holding call, come on now, we can't do that. If you want to review a face mask penalty, or if the review showed that there's no face mask penalty there, now we need to kind of consider that. But the refs need to be quicker. They need to be – the camera crews are already great. They need to be even faster, and we're going to rely on the camera crew to give us these angles that most of them do a pretty good job of it. If the refs can look at the replay, that will solve a lot of problems, I think. Allow the refs to look at the replay. That'll solve all the communication issues right there. What do you guys think about that? Let me know your thoughts, man. Hit me up in the chat. Hit me up on Twitter, @_voice of the fans, @_voice of the fans. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know your thoughts on the NFL rule changes that they're looking at, rule changes. Any specific ones stand out to you? The situation where a flag could possibly be picked up, if they're picking up flags now on the defensive players, there's no contact to the head or neck area. They're going to pick up that flag. Face mask, no contact with the face mask or helmet opening. They're going to pick up that flag. No horse collar, no hand on the nameplate, or no hand on the collar or nameplate. The tripping rule, no leg or foot contact the opponent. Roughing or running into the kicker. They're going to start looking at that a little closer now. If they threw a flag, they could potentially pick up the flag if when they look at the replay and see that a foul was not committed. That's revolutionary for the game. Again, they're going to have to be quicker on these replays, but that's kind of revolutionary the way they're considering using the replay for these games moving forward. So I think that'll be a significant change for the game, fans. What do you guys think? Additionally, what I wanted to get into tonight, outside of see what the NFL has going on. Who's won the free agency, NFL free agency? What teams do you guys think are having the best offseason? Because we see a lot of teams still are preparing for the draft. I guess there's still some movement to make another 4 weeks before the draft, so there is some, no reason to get excited. But my Dolphins haven't signed a backup quarterback. That's concerning. What concerning move do you see or you guys are familiar with that should be addressed here pretty soon? Because I don't know if the Dolphins able to get a quarterback. I really don't want a rookie to back up. I prefer a veteran to back up Tua, because Tua is going to go out for 3 to 4 games this season. That's already a given. I prefer a veteran, a Joe Flacco. I prefer a Joe Flacco or a Jameis Winston, but he just signed with the Knicks or the Giants. I prefer Joe Flacco to kind of back up Tua. Again, we already know he's going to go out. So who would you guys suggest Miami sign up for their backup quarterback? That's something that's concerning. The Miami need a whole offensive line. So whether they're not out there blowing their wad on offensive linemen, I don't know. But they need a whole offensive line to keep Tua upright. He's proven if he can do that, if they do that, he has an opportunity to not extend his career is the wrong word, but he has an opportunity to stay healthy and just be able to play games. By not staying upright, by not keeping their quarterback upright, they're essentially losing. They're essentially shortening his career. So that's Greer is going to have to get charged for malfeasance if he doesn't get a decent backup quarterback for Tua Tagovailoa and Mike McDonald to play with this season. Because it's a shame not having the team, having a guy like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and nobody can get him the ball. Like, you guys ought to be ashamed of yourself. What's the deal? You ought to be ashamed of yourself for that. But who do you guys think is winning or has won, if you will, this off season? Or are you looking more towards the draft when the draft comes out? Which leads to a bigger question that I do have, and I want to talk about it. I was going to talk about it later in the show when it comes to Major League Baseball. But is the draft bigger than Major League Baseball opening day? Is the NFL draft bigger than Major League Baseball opening day? I don't know. Opening day doesn't seem to carry the weight it once did, but you tell me, fans. Is it bigger than the NFL draft? I don't know. The NFL is the big dog on the block, so they can. If they threw their draft on opening day, who would you turn to? Which would you turn to see, your NFL team and who they're drafting, or would you watch the manicured lawns on the baseball field across the country? I don't know. Who would you look to? Which game would you look to see more? Talking about the draft, who do you guys think should go first? Should it be Cam Ward? Should Cam Ward be going to the Tennessee Titans? I'm scared of Tennessee Titans. I'm scared for Cam Ward that he's going to the Tennessee Titans. I think he's probably the better NFL prospect between him and Shador. I think he's a better draft prospect. Makes basically because he's more athletic, he's quicker, he has a sudden burst, and I think he has a stronger arm. Where Shador is accurate, in my opinion, Shador is very accurate. He's a tough quarterback, and I say tough quarterback because he's played behind a subpar offensive line his couple years at Jackson State and his couple years at Colorado. So he showed his toughness. Not that you really want your quarterback getting hit in the NFL. I mean, that toughness can only last for so long. We saw what happened to Andrew Luck, but that toughness can be a good thing because at least he's not going to fold, and he came back against quality opponents. So that's a good thing for him. His toughness, Shador's toughness, but I think Cam Moore is going to be the tougher player. What does Cleveland do at 2? Now, they need a quarterback, but do they need a lot of other things else? What do they do at 2? Would you draft Shador Sanders at 2? The New York Giants, or would you draft the guy out of Penn State to line up against on the other side of Miles Garrett, excuse me? Would you draft the kid out of Penn State to line up on the other side of them? Now you got booking cornerbacks, and Garrett and Garrett can coach this little young guy up, so you have that edge rusher for years to come. If you hit it right, they say he's a bigger, stronger Micah Parsons, which would be very interesting if he is. But do you go quarterback if you're Cleveland Browns, knowing they need a quarterback, or do you go for the quarterback? And is Shador in Cleveland? Is he a game changer? You guys tell me. Is he a game changer? I'm not so sure he is. I know Cam is, but which way did the Cleveland Browns go? The Giants. I believe the Giants would take Shador. That would be big time for the Giants. The Giants need a home run pick, and I can see putting the stock on a young quarterback with Hall of Fame lineage. I can see you doing that. They did it with Eli Manning. I can see him doing it with Shador Sanders. The New England Patriots, they drafted a receiver, they just signed Stephon Diggs. They signed a receiver. I would expect them to also draft a receiver, but do you do in the number 4 slot? With a lot of receivers you can get late in the draft, or not late in the draft, you can get late on that day or Saturday in the second and third round. I think you would kind of fill up your roster with wide receivers if you were the New England Patriots. Jacksonville Jaguars, I wouldn't see them coming off of the Golden Boy, Trevor Lawrence for Shador Sanders. I wouldn't see that, but because they're in front of the Raiders, they might just take them because they know. I think the Raiders as far as he would fall would be to the Raiders and Tom Brady, who is already kind of schooling them up and prepping them up this year. I think that would be a perfect landing spot for Shador Sanders, knowing that he's behind. He'd be behind Geno Smith, and he has some time before he has to play. He can kind of learn the game. I think that's the best way to go. Only special players, real special players, come out and play week 1. I would let him sit a few weeks behind Geno Smith, learn the game, learn the atmosphere, learn his way around the city, learn his way around to the stadium. I would do that before I threw him right in the game. What do you guys think? How would you guys treat Shador Sanders? Do you throw him right in? If you're the Giants, does he become your quarterback week 1? If you draft him in Cleveland Brown, does he become your quarterback in week 1? I'm saying the best spot for Shador Sanders to fall would be to the Raiders at number 6 because he already has Tom Brady as a mentor, and he doesn't have to play right away because he's playing behind Geno Smith. And then Pete Carroll's been around and grooms young quarterbacks before. When I say groomed, in a coaching up way, he's groomed young quarterbacks before, i.e. Russell Wilson. And so I think he would be able to get the best out of Shador Sanders. That would be my speculation. After the Raiders at 6, the Jets. I don't expect him to be around there for the Jets, but the Jets draft at number 7. If so, I mean that's still the Jets are still trying to figure out what they're doing. Oh, they got Justin Fields at quarterback, so they're not going to draft a quarterback. They probably get another running back, a receiver. I would think their defense has been pretty solid. Maybe they can get a safety to fill in for the dude they lost a couple years ago. The Panthers, they're not drafting a quarterback. They're looking more so on the defensive side of the ball. The New Orleans Saints, they need a quarterback desperately. They need somebody in New Orleans because man, the way that things are going, they need something in New Orleans. The Bears need a game breaker. The Bears at 10, they need a game breaker. I would think it's on the offensive side of the ball, but they probably just need a game breaker on either side of the ball. Best available. I would say the same for the San Francisco 49ers. If they can get another receiver, that'd be great to make up for Debo's production and Ayuk production. That'd be great, but they need a game breaker as well. Maybe a running back. So do the Dallas Cowboys. They also need a running back. They could use another wide receiver. They need somebody on defense. They probably need a linebacker on defense. And then my Dolphins need to go offensive line at 13. They need offensive line. I'm not a big fan of drafting offensive linemen all the time, but we need offensive linemen. If you can, draft, trade down, and get a couple offensive linemen early in the draft. I would say trade out of that first round or trade late in the first round, get a lineman nobody's thinking of, and then you get 2 picks. You'll give me your late 1 and your early 2, and then I'll do that trade so you can get 2 picks. If I was the Dolphins, that's what I'd be trying to call teams around the league. If you want to move up to 13, I just want 2 picks and see what we can do from there. Fans, what do you do in the draft? How do you prepare for the draft? Are you moving picks around? You staying pat? Are you trading veterans to get higher draft picks? Do you care about the draft? You like the Rams from a few years ago, saying F them picks? What are you guys doing with the draft picks? Typically, fans, we open the show with our numbers game. We're doing things a little different tonight. Our numbers game, with it being March 26, 2025, week 330 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. We're going to change it up. We're going to bring in a numbers game at this point before we talk NBA. And when you think of the number, we're going to look at a couple different numbers. We're going to look at number 26 and number 33. When you think of the number 26, who wore that jersey the best? Or who comes to your mind first? For me, number 26, kind of a weird number. Wendell Tyler was the first person that came to my mind. But who wore it best is probably Clinton Portis. Shaq and Shaquille Griffin, somebody else that came to my mind. But Wendell Tyler, the old 49er running back, came to my mind first. And then Clinton Portis, I think, wore it the best. When you think of number 33, the first person that came to my mind was Tony Dorsett. I'm not sure who wore it better than Tony Dorsett. Dan Dornick for the Seattle Seahawks way back in the day. I'm not sure who wore it better than Tony Dorsett, number 33, or unless you want to go Kareem Abdul-Jabbar throughout his career. He wore it pretty nicely, so we give Kareem some credit. Man, guys, it's always difficult news to share and talk about injuries and how injuries impact the game. But with Dame Lillard being out indefinitely with blood clots, that really, really impacts the Milwaukee Bucks. They had a slow start to their season. They found their footing midway, and they were kind of rolling pretty well until these blood clots hit Dame. Now Giannis is out tonight. If I remember correctly, they're like the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. I'm going to just double check on that real quick. The Lakers won by the hair on their chinny chin chin, it looks like. They beat Indiana tonight. Clippers also just an update. Clippers also beat the Knicks tonight. So I was looking up. Where Dame is in the playoff. Milwaukee is 40 or 31, one game ahead of Detroit at 32, one game behind the Pacers at one game behind the Pacers who 42 and 30. Again, the Pacers just lost, so they're just only a couple games ahead of the Bucks right there. In front, the Bucks are 5. That'd be a 5-4 matchup if the playoffs were to start today. But Dame Lillard going out with the blood clots. Oh man, that hurts. Bucks because they found some rhythm, they found some momentum, but now they're taking a step back. And as I mentioned, Giannis is out tonight, so. Craven Moorhead, huh? I appreciate that. Appreciate that feedback, Dane. We'll see who picks him up. Jimmy and the Curryless Warriors went to Miami last night, and the Warriors lost to the Heat in Butler's return. So it was very evident that the Heat players had something for Jimmy when he came back to town. Playing a little bit more harder, playing a little bit more spirited basketball. And not only Jimmy couldn't do much without Steph Curry, he was already kind of hamstrung or, had one hand tied behind the back, if you will. So Jimmy and the Warriors, they lost that game to Curry or to the Warriors, who right now the Warriors are in the 7th seed. They're 7-3 in their last. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games, and they're fighting. Right now they're in the play-in. They have the same record after tonight's win from the Clippers as the Clippers do. So the Clippers are 6th seed right now. The Golden State 7th seed right now. So they're bouncing back and forth. The Clippers, and some people thought their season was a bust. Their season was a fraud after the trade deadline. They get Bogdanovich out of Atlanta for Terrence Mann, and they bring in off the waiver wire. They brought in Ben Simmons, who they don't need Ben Simmons to shoot. That's Harden's job. That's Kawhi's job, and that's Norman Powell's job. So if you can get some rebounds and push the ball, Ben, let's go. and what do you think Ben's doing? Getting the ball and pushing it on the rebounds. So give Ty Lue some credit for identifying the skill set and how that skill set can fit the squad, and then he's getting the best out of them. Now you don't have to hear from Ben. He don't have to do anything but what he was comfortable doing, getting the rebound and pushing the ball. And so everybody who's on Ben for not scoring, look at this. You find somewhere where they're going to appreciate you, and he gets some appreciation as he's getting his work done. The Clippers are having a late charge in this playoff race. As I mentioned, they just moved up to 8th seed with their 6th seed with their win tonight. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They're 41-31 records, 10 games over 500. Far cry from what their Clippers are doing when they elected or rejected to sign Paul George to give him a 4th year on his deal, or no trade clause or no trade deal. They said no to both, and now it looks like they made the right decision. Lawrence Franklin did in the front office. Another team I'm surprised about, talking about the playoff race, is the Detroit Pistons. Let's give them some love. 6-4 in the last 10 games at 42-32. They're 5 games. They're 5 games over the 6th seed, so they're comfortably in the 6th seed. They're 5 games over the 7th seed. Excuse me. So they're comfortably in the playoffs right now. If the season was to end today, Detroit, Cade Cunningham really getting busy up there. I think that's a real indication of players developing and a coach that kind of believes in the players, because you see they have essentially the same squad. They didn't make no big all-season changes. They're essentially the same squad, and with the new coach in there, now they're playing in rhythm. They're playing in the groove. So kudos to Detroit Pistons moving into getting some playoff action this year, unless they just fall flat on their face. But the team also I'd say more surprised about in the Eastern Conference. Now, I know they had injuries with Paulo going out for some time, Wagner's going out for some time. Now they're healthy and back, but they're 6-4 in their last 10 games. I think I expected they're in the 8th seed at 32-38. I kind of expected. I guess I expected Orlando to be where the Pistons are, and the Pistons to be where I expected to swap positions. I expected a little bit more of Orlando. And I know they were injured, but the season is what it is, and we have to grade them for where they are. So they'll be in the play-in tournament. Can they make noise in the play-in tournament? They should be able to beat Miami, the Hawks, the Bulls. Orlando's at number 8, 35-38. They're only a game away from 7th seed. They're 6 games away from the 6th seed, though. So they can catch Atlanta. Atlanta's at number 7. Chicago's at number 9. Miami's at number 10. So I think they will play. Orlando, Miami will play. And then Orlando, the winner of that game, will get a chance. Excuse me, we'll play the winner or the loser of Atlanta and Chicago. Chicago was playing kind of above what everybody's anticipated, I'm sure, this season. I'm sure not everybody anticipated Chicago to do what they're doing. But I was kind of surprised at those teams. Wasn't Terrace? I expected the Clippers to be in the play-in range, and that's about where they are. If they can get out of that play-in, that'll be impressive. Should the Thunder be playing for 70 games or for 70 wins? Excuse me. So the Thunder, Oklahoma City Thunder, they could win 70. They could get 70 wins if they won out the rest of their last 10 games. Should they be playing for that though? Should they be playing to win their last 10 games to get 70 wins? I mean, that's an attractive number for a hoop team, 70 wins. But should they be playing for that? It's not like the NFL where the first round bye, you get a week off or something like that. So it's different in that you're going to get a week off or 3 or 4 days before the playoffs start anyway. So should you exert yourself for that energy or should you just pull back? Because I think the last 2 games are Utah and Atlanta, which they're winnable games, but let's rely on our reserves to win those games. If we can win those games, can you guys get us 70 wins? Can you guys get a 2 wins late in the season? Because I would definitely have to rest Shea and Jalen and White and I definitely have to Chet Holmgren. I definitely have to consider resting those guys. And I'm not the rest kind of guy, but the last 2 games you got Atlanta and Utah. Let's not play for any funny stuff. Let's see if we can get to 68 wins. Let our reserves get us 2 more wins. That's how I would play that one. And what you guys think? Should the Thunder be playing for 70 wins? Also, who's this year's MVP? It really coming down to a 2-man race, right? Is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder or Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets? My vote would be Shai. I think Shai he's doing way too much. What do you have, 60-plus games where he scored over 20 points, I think the stat is. In countless 30-point games. He leads the league in 30-point games. He's averaging for the season. He's averaging 32, 6.3, and 5.1 on the season, which is pretty damn good. Their team, Oklahoma City, is 60-12 on the season. I think that's your MVP. However, Nikola Jokic is averaging 29.1 points a game, 10.3 assists a game. This is your center now. He gets 10 assists a game, and 12.8 rebounds a game. Nikola Jokic is third in scoring, third in rebounds, and he's second in assists as the center on the Denver Nuggets. That's very impressive. I mean, he's averaging a triple double, and with 10 assists as your center, very impressive. But the nod I think goes to Oklahoma City and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. When you look at this stat here, is Oklahoma City is 10-2 against top four teams, when Denver against the same top four teams are 2-9. I think that's kind of a differentiating factor, considering they're both in the same the Western Conference, so they're playing their same amount of big teams, top four teams. I think that stat there leads to OKC, which kind of leads to their star. Jokic again, number 3 in points, number 3 in rebounds, number 2 in assists in the league of all players in the league this season. So he's behind Shai in scoring. He's ahead of Shai in rebounds. He's ahead of Shai in assists. Hell of a most valuable player race. You guys have to be enjoying this. So Super fans out there I'm talking to, you guys have to be enjoying this coming down the stretch, and what they're able to do, or what Oklahoma City's able to do. Very impressive. But I mean, I gave you a couple numbers. Jokic again, third in points, third in rebounds, second in assists. Joker is averaging 29.1 points, 10.3 assists per game, 12.8 rebounds per game. Great numbers. But Shai is doing his thing by averaging 30 points a game, 32.8, 6.3 assists a game, and 5.1 rebounds a game. And he has his team could possibly win if they play the season out, could win 70 games. I mean, that's the MVP. Joker's having a hell of a season, but that's the MVP right there. Again, Boston Celtics star Jason Tatum, he's out with the left ankle sprain that he suffered against the Kings when Boston beat them a couple nights ago. Now there's been some talk that Tatum should just rest the last couple weeks of the season. I know I just said SGA and Chet and Jalen Jackson should rest the last 2 games of the season for Oklahoma City, but to rest Jason Tatum like the last 3 weeks of the season, I think that's taking it a bit far. I mean, the ankle sprain, most guys playing basketball have suffered ankle sprains before. It's one of the easier fixes, ice 3 hours on, 3 hours off, and elevate your foot. Like, I understand a week. 2 weeks, you're stretching it. A third week, come on. Now he's getting rusty just sitting around. Take a couple weeks, but then come back and play the final game just so you can get some rhythm going in the playoffs. I wouldn't want the playoff action if I'm Boston. I wouldn't want his playoff action to be his first time playing since suffering the ankle injury. So I say get some time in. The same with Anthony Davis. Well, I guess it's kind of different with Anthony Davis. Dallas Mavericks aren't going nowhere. Why are you playing Anthony Davis? You don't want to tank per se, but I would prefer a higher draft seed than more games on the win record this season. How about you guys? I would prefer a higher pick in the draft versus a couple more wins on the record this season. So I don't know why Anthony Davis is being allowed to play in Dallas, because the season without Kyrie, the season's already shot. So now where I say Tatum should take a couple weeks off and come back and play. Anthony Davis, they're not in the playoff hunt. They're not going to be in the playoffs. So what are you guys pushing for? Okay, Anthony Davis, you got a good run in. You got some cardio in. in Texas. You know what it feels like. You got the blue uniform on. Now let's shut this down. And let's get you ready to play with this young stud that we're going to draft. We're going to acquire this offseason. And so, because now we know Kyrie needs some help. Clayton, who you thought he was. So let's go ahead and really do this thing for the Mavericks. But let's get a higher draft pick versus more wins this season. So I wanted to get on the Lakers and their back-to-back losses that they had, but apparently they came back and won. Apparently they came back and won this one tonight. So I can't really say much. But what you guys, they barely beat the Pacers. They barely beat the Pacers, though. So how impressive was that? How impressive could that have been? How impressive could that have been? Because they barely beat the Pacers on the road. Let's just look at the numbers, man. Just see what LeBron did tonight. Are you guys interested? They have the Lakers. The Lakers are in the 4th seed. I mean, him and Luka. They had 3 losses in a row, so they needed this win against the Pacers. Again, it was by 1 point tonight. Doncic had 34 points. LeBron had 13 points. So Luka had 13, 7, and 7. LeBron had 13 rebounds, 13 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists. So, I mean, Luka is carrying those guys, man. Luka is painful to see Luka in the purple and gold carrying these guys and making them look so good because he just extended LeBron's career for another few seasons. If you guys didn't know that, what's your thoughts on LeBron's conference call with in Indianapolis? His conference call with the kicker, he wouldn't Pat McAfee. What do you guys think of his conversation with Pat McAfee? A couple things that stood out to me is this whole generational talk. I mean, he obviously got into him and Stephen A. mess, and he playing with Patrick. So I guess he's trying to show Stephen A. that he gets love from all over ESPN. I mean, why else would he go on Patrick McAfee's show? Never heard him talk to or about Pat McAfee before, so that was interesting. He went on the show, but he said Giannis would score 250 points in a game if he played back in the 70s, which that's not saying much. If you say the 70s, that's not really saying much, bro. If you say the 80s, now we have to have a conversation because that 70s brand of basketball was a little different than the 80s brand of basketball. So let's just assume that Giannis is getting the 1980s medicine and food that we had in the training regimen from the 1980s versus the from the 2000s that he's enjoying now. I think Giannis would have been it'd been interesting because we know how good Giannis is today, right? But Giannis lives in Milwaukee. He doesn't get the scrutiny that you would get in a big season. And if he was missing free throws like he's been prone to miss in these last few years, back then, he may not have seen the floor. Like the game was so much more rigid and analytics didn't drive the game, but they made decisions analytically. If you don't make free throws, you don't go in the game. Shaq was the only one that was really able to overcome the lack of making free throws. But that was in 2000. That wasn't in the 80s. And not to say Shaq would have been benched, but Shaq would have been, he would have been yanked in and out of the game like Phil was doing at times, because the not being able to make your free throws impact the game. So would Giannis have gotten over that little hurdle? It would have been much different, I think, in the days when he was being targeted versus today where it's just social media, and because you're the Greek freak, nobody's going to get on you because all of Greece love you. America really enjoy what you're doing. He's kind of a funny guy, so nobody's coming at him nefariously. But back in those times, it might have been a little different back in the late 80s, 70s or 80s. So what else did Bron talk about that got you guys' interest, man? I need your participation on the show so we can chop it up. Because what got my interest is I told you, he's talking about Giannis to get the time. He talked about Stephen A. I didn't watch the show, but I just heard clips of the show. I'd be interested to hear what he said. Did he say anything about players moving around, super teams? I'd be interested if he had any of that conversation. But I'm sure with McAfee, they were just clowning around most of the day. Next week, fans, we're going to talk about or finish our brackets. I'm going to have Pavi back on next week to finish our brackets on the NBA 101 tournament. If you guys were with us last week, we went through the 101 tournament. So I want you guys to give me your feedback and show me who you think would win in the NBA 101 tournament. Let me pull this up to give you guys a preview of what we got left. Who's still standing in the tournament, so you guys can have your idea which way to go. Well, shout out to you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It doesn't cost you anything, fans, but just a little effort. Also, leave a comment. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Where are you watching from? And how are you absorbing the show? Are you at work? Are you at school? Are you doing homework at night? What are you doing? How are you guys enjoying the show? Let me know. Let me get into the double NCAA tournament. I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. But right now, I'm just looking for my bracket. Okay, 101 bracket. Here we go. So I'm gonna pull this up and I'm gonna share this with you guys. Let you guys see where we are. Thank you guys again for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Here we go right here. I'm about to pull up the bracket. This is what I put together from a few weeks ago. Share screen. We want to look at the brackets, and we did it last week with Pavi. But next week we're gonna finish it off. So we did 2 rounds last week. In the East region, Anthony Edwards beat Jeremy Grant and Drew Holiday. We had Devin Booker beat Klay Thompson and Damian Lillard, who beat Norman Powell. James Harden advances. Jaylen Brown, who beat Michael Porter Jr. Harden beat Derek White and Jaylen Brown. Bam Adebayo. I think Pavi trying to ruin my bracket with this one. He had Bam Adebayo beating Jalen Williams, and DeAndre Hunter beating Ja Morant, and Adebayo advanced in that area. Steph Curry beat Trae Young. DeMar DeRozan beat Malik Monk, and Pavi had DeMar DeRozan moving on past Steph Curry. We had Franz Wagner beat Jimmy Butler. Kevin Durant beat Chet Holmgren, and Kevin Durant beat Franz Wagner. So that's where we are. Tyrese Maxey beat Evan Mobley. Paulo Banchero beat Mikal Bridges. And Valquero moved on from Maxey. De'Aaron Fox beat Desmond Bain. Jason Tatum beat OG Anunoby. Tatum moved on and beat De'Aaron Fox. So we have Tatum, Banchero next week. DeRozan, Durant, Adebayo, Harden, Edwards, and Butler. Those are on one side of the bracket. These are for the guys. These are for the guys, NBA players one-on-one tournament. Since that was the talk of the NBA All-Star game, I decided to bring this back. I'm sorry, I never brought this to the screen. I'm sorry. So here's just so you guys can see it if you're looking at it. We go Edwards, Booker, Harden, Adebayo, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant, Paolo Banchero, Jason Tatum. So, those are some good matches, though. That's 4. So we are in the Sweet 16 right now of NBA one-on-one tournament. So hopefully you guys can see. There you go. Yeah, you guys got it all right. Just want to make sure you guys can check it out. Check it out with me. I got Kyrie Irving over Bradley Beal, Jalen Green over Darius Garland, and then Irving beats Green. We had Anthony Davis over C.J. McCollum, Victor Wembanyama over Cameron Johnson, and Anthony Davis beat Victor Wembanyama. This might be the injured pool here because those guys are injured. Kawhi Leonard beat Zion Williamson, and then we had LeBron and Kawhi. We had LeBron beat Kawhi last week. We had Randall and Siakam. Randall beat Luka, and Pascal beat Westbrook. Like, those are some serious competitions there. And so we had Randall and James coming up next week. And then we have SGA beat Miles Bridges. Alperen Şengün beat Scotty Barnes. SGA beat Alperen Şengün. Cade Cunningham beat Tyler Hero. Donovan Mitchell beat RJ Barrett. Cade Cunningham advances over Mitchell. Karl Anthony Towns beat Jaren Jackson. This is for our NBA one-on-one competition. Karl Anthony Towns beat Jaren Jackson, and Nikola Jokic beat Rudy Gobert in the all-center matchup. And we had Nikola Jokic and Karl Anthony Towns. And Karl Anthony Towns beat Nikola Jokic in this one-on-one competition. Jamal Murray plays Jalen Brunson. Murray advances. Giannis Antetokounmpo beat Domantas Sabonis. Giannis advances. So we got Giannis and Cat next week. Giannis and Cat. Cade and SGA. Randall and James. And then we got Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. Woo! This is a Sweet 16. You talking about a Sweet 16? That's a nice Sweet 16, fans. You guys have to like this competition. I'm really enjoying this. It's all speculation on what would happen, but I mean, can you imagine you get Devin Booker and Andre Edwards in a one-on-one competition? James Harden, Bam Adebayo, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant, Paolo Banchero, and Jason Tatum. Like, these are primetime matchups, folks. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Karl Anthony Towns, Cade Cunningham, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Julius Randle, and LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Kyrie. Come on, man. Come on. Tell me you guys wouldn't pay to see these matchups here. Tell me you wouldn't pay to see these matchups. Let me know who you guys think will win this thing. I like to do this. I'm a collaborative type of leader. Who do you guys have winning these matchups? You see, we got the Sweet 16. Voice of the Fans Sweet 16 will be addressed and announced next week. So I want you guys to please be a part of the show. What's your thoughts on Bronny going for 39 in the G League? Did that mean anything? Are you guys ready to move him into the Sunday Night White to the Lakers uniform? What did Bronny going for 39? I mean, I guess it shows that he's getting more comfortable late in the year, right? The season almost over. He has his best game. That's what that shows to me. He's getting more comfortable in his skin. And so stepping up, I think he had a 17-point game after LeBron, I want to say attacked Stephen A., but, confronted Stephen A. So now that made his son feel like, yeah, okay, you got my back. Let me go out here and do some things. And 39 points, I think that was kind of impressive, but I don't know that it gets you the home game white Sunday jersey. Although they're probably selling it already. So that was my basketball talk, man. I want to also, another thing I like doing is this week in history segment. The Scottsboro boys arrested in Alabama, accused of raping a white woman. The white woman later said that she fabricated the whole story, yet these guys were still convicted of rape. Or at least 5 of the 4 were convicted of rape. It was a terrible story. That was March 25th, 1931. March 25th, 1807, the Slave Trade Act becomes law, abolishing the slave trade in the British Empire. 1807. March 26, 1872, Thomas J. Martin patents the fire extinguisher. March 26, 1982, Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder released the single Ebony and Ivory in the UK. March 26, 1982. March 19, 1997, Life After Death, the second studio album by the Notorious Big, is released. It was actually one Billboard Song of the Year in 1997. March 26, 1917, Stanley Cup Finals, at the Seattle Ice Arena. Seattle Metropolitans beat Montreal Canadiens 9-1 for a 3-1 series victory. The first U.S. team to win the Stanley Cup. How about that? Shout out to the Seattle Kraken. This is what they were called back. They were the Metropolitans years ago, but they become the first team to win the first U.S. team to win the Stanley Cup. So there you go. Your trivia winner right there. Who became the first American team to win, the first U.S. team to win the Stanley Cup? It's your Seattle Metropolitans. March 25th, 1958, Sugar Ray Robinson is the first boxing champ to win the boxing championship 5 times. March 26, 1973, Bill Walton scored an NCAA championship record 44 points as UCLA beat Memphis State 87-66 for UCLA's 7th consecutive title and 75th win in a row. Killing. Those UCLA squads were just unbeatable for a decade, it turns out. March 26, 1979, a guy by the name of Irving Johnson beat Larry Bird in the most watched college basketball game ever. The most watched. Did you hear what I said, fans? The most watched college basketball game ever is when 1979 Michigan State outlasted Indiana State. 35.11 million people watched that. You would think that with the abundance of technology, we get more people watching games now, but then that kind of splits all the fans from watching all the viewership. Fans, can you guess who was the number 2 and number 3 watch teams? Can you possibly guess? I got the answer. If you guys want to chime in the chat, I got the answer for you. Who was the number 2 or number 3 most watched game is gonna in college sports, college basketball? So that gives it away right there. So it's a college basketball game. Who was number 2 and number 3 most watched teams? I'll give you time. Let me know if you guys find the answer. Last week we lost George Foreman, fans, but on March 26, 1974, George Foreman TKO's Ken Norton in the second round in the second round for the WBA, WBC, and the ring heavyweight boxing titles in Venezuela, Caracas, Venezuela. And then also, just sadly, we lost George Foreman last week. Tough blow to the boxing world, tough blow to the sports world. As George made more money out the ring with his George Foreman grill. That's been the most highest selling thing in the Amazon, the George Foreman grill. I never used the George Foreman grill. I don't think I use it. Now there's various iterations of it now, but I don't think I never owned one. I don't think I used the George Foreman grill. I don't think I ever used the George Foreman grill, fan, to be honest with you. But he made a lot of money off of you guys who bought that George Foreman grill. So what does your brackets look like, fans? What do your brackets look like? Are your brackets trash? Now I never filled out a bracket, so I don't have that. I don't have to be that sad about it. But what does your bracket feel like? What do your brackets look like? Most of them are busted when Colorado State beat Memphis, and that was the only upset. That was here in Seattle, and then Seattle also saw the best game of the weekend of this past weekend when Queen. Some say he took 3 steps. Some say he just had a nice touch high off the glass. Well, I spoke to Queen, which was pretty cool. I'm gonna play that interview for you. The post game interview. We're gonna play the post game interview that I had with the young Derek Queen, the freshman from Memphis. Get a chance to see it here exclusively on the Voice of the Fans podcast, because this was a post game interview that nobody else had. There was somebody else there with us, but it's exclusively Voice of the Fans content. So let me pull that up for you guys. Because I thought it was a great shot. I thought it was a great shot by the rookie. But you'll hear the rookie get a chance to talk about it right here. It starts off with the reporter asking about how many texts he received. Share screen. Window. There we go. So there you go. He was saying, hopefully you guys could hear it, but he was saying he couldn't let the seniors down. He got the shivers when Coach called his name because he didn't want to let the coach down. He didn't want to let players down. That's exclusive coverage, fan, that you guys can see on Voice of the Fans YouTube page. Exclusive coverage. But was that a great shot or did he travel? What do you guys think? Was that a great shot or did he travel? He said he tried that move earlier, but they called traveling on him. And so he waited he held it in his back pocket and pulled it out when he got the call. It was a pretty impressive play. With that shot, he became the 4th freshman in the NCAA tournament. He became the 4th freshman to knock down a game-winning shot, which obviously was very impressive. Yeah, so that was probably the biggest story of the NC tournament so far, outside of Juju Smith going down on the women's bracket. What do you guys think about Juju going down? Not Juju Smith, but Juju, the basketball player um, for United for SC. Juju Watkins. Which is a bigger story? I think Juju was. What do you guys think was the biggest story? Yeah, I really think Juju Watkins, her story, that story kind of took over the. Sorry, I really think Juju Watkins, heard that story, took over the. Juju is a bigger story, bigger than a freshman winner. I mean, I tend to agree with that. I tend to agree with that. That was more heartbreaking than anything because we were looking forward to, even though I think the schedulers didn't do a good job of scheduling, so Paige Beckers and Juju would have played before the Final Four. I mean, we were still looking forward to that matchup. Yeah, so Juju going down, I think, was a bigger story. But what upsets do you see in the Sweet 16, if any? This is going to be kind of a quiet NCAA tournament, right? We have one buzzer beater. Here in Seattle, we got on Friday night, we got one of four games was a close game. The other one was a blowout. Does the NCAA, the tournament, is it still piquing your interest here? Because here we got Auburn, Michigan. We got Ole Miss. Ole Miss plays Michigan State. Florida plays Maryland. That'll be a good game. Texas Tech plays Arkansas, and that's on one side of the bracket. Tennessee and Kentucky, that'll be a good game. Houston and Purdue. BYU, Alabama. That's going to be a crushing. And then we got Duke playing number 4, Arizona. What's a bigger game what's the game you guys are most looking forward to? Let me ask it that way. Duke, Arizona, BYU, Bama, Houston or Purdue, Kentucky or Tennessee, Texas Tech and Arkansas, Florida, Maryland. I think that's probably going to be the best game of the weekend in Florida, Maryland. The Auburn, Michigan, I think Michigan's going to hang around for a little bit, but Auburn's going to pull away. Duke and Arizona, that is going to be a good game. That's the number 1 and 4. So we got some good basketball yet to be seen. Why do you think that is? Why is the women's bracket more popular than the men's bracket? It's becoming like women's tennis over men's tennis. Look at that. I like that take. So I got to, ask you 2 questions. Why is women's tennis preferred over men's tennis? I think I know the answer to that, but why is women's basketball more popular than men's NCAA? I got my beliefs. I think it's because, leading into the next topic, might as well jump right in here. You led me right to it, is the free agent. College basketball is becoming like free agency in each sport. Every year, you get a chance to jump into the portal. As we heard about Scottie Pippen's son going into the portal before the tournament, before he plays his next tournament game, which is ridiculous. They got to do something about that. They got to change that rule. The portal's not open till the end of the season, at least. My goodness, how can a guy leave midway through the tournament? And then, I mean, they're getting paid for it. It was the question was asked. I'm working on an article actually from about NIL deals. So the question was asked a couple of times over the weekend is like about NIL, about how it's impacting the culture from building their roster. Again, I was at the NCAA's here in Seattle. And so this question was raised a couple of times specifically for Anthony Hardaway because Memphis doesn't pay a lot with their NIL program. And so the question was asked directly to Penny Hardaway, head coach of Memphis, is what do you do in this situation when you have players who either you lose them to NIL deal or before the season's over they're checking their phone and they're asking for money from their agents about what they're going to do next season. Like that was kind of tough for them guys to deal with. But Penny Hardaway, he tried to give a PC answer, but the weight of the loss, the weight of the season ending, it felt like just watching him during the press conference that the weight of the season just kind of came down and hit him, and he just like, heck, I got to be truthful. It's all about the NIL deal. It's all about the NIL money, really, is what it comes down to. No one and dones. That's a key word right there. No one and dones. They also play a breaded brand, but yeah. Despite the less dunks, they're fundamentally sound, and that's what a lot of people don't understand about the fundamental aspect of basketball. It's a different game. If you're not flying, if you're not high flying and dunking and blocking shots and throwing the threes in from half court, it is totally a different game. Appreciate you, SB, for tuning in with that feedback. That's exactly right. There's no one and done, so these gals, they stay longer, so you get a chance to know who they are longer than you do a lot of other places. And what's impacting that is the transfer portal. It's really changed. Now we're looking at free agent basketball. We're going to see the same thing in football, free agent football. It's like free agent football. So now these guys, free agent basketball, free agent football. Again, I just mentioned Scottie Pippen's son. Before his team completed their season, he's already off to another team. And that's, again, I just have to go back to the story where they asked Derek Queen. They asked Derek Queen this after the game winner. They asked him, why is it this coach that you guys will listen to when he tells you to do something? Or he asked you to do something. Why is he the coach that you would listen to? And Derek said, well, he the one that gave us the most money. Which, in his charming comedic way, that's what he said. So that proves that it's all about the NIL deal. And so when I asked the players, you're going to have to read my article, see what the players had to say about what they choose for, what their reason is for choosing a school if once they get all the NIL requirements taken care of, what's the reason for choosing a particular school? I thought it was a nice, thoughtful answer by the two young men. Again, that's an article I'm working on, so you guys can check that out at voiceofthefans.org anytime you like. You can also check out the Substack at voiceofthefans.substack, I believe it is. Make sure you check out my Substack as well. But I appreciate your feedback. Yeah, I certainly agree. It's they have more star power because there's no one and done, and you get to see them play longer. And you get to watch them develop. That's huge. Not being able to watch certain players develop, like Caleb Love for Arizona. And I saw him play on Friday, but it was a really nondescript game. And then on Sunday he had a big game. Like now he gets 1 year in Arizona before. I don't expect Caleb Love to be a 2 or 3 time All-Star in the NBA. So he just extended his career as long as he can, which is, if you can do it, do it. Kudos to you. Alex Ovechkin fans. Alex Ovechkin is 5 goals away from breaking Gretzky's record. We're gonna have to talk. I guess I'll set this up for next week once he gets and breaks his record. But we're gonna have to look at what are some of the most perceived unbreakable records that are on the verge of being broken or that we've been thinking never been broken. And so Alex Ovechkin is 5 goals away from breaking or from tying Gretzky's record, 6 goals away from breaking Gretzky's record, which is going to be interesting. Also this weekend, Sebastian Fundora KO's Booker in the 4th round in Vegas over the weekend. If you haven't seen Sebastian Fundora, the Tower Inferno they call him, it's certainly worth when he's on when he's fighting is worth watching because in a Sebastian Fundora fight, you're going to get what you want out of a boxing fight. In a boxing fight, you want to see the guys get in the middle of the ring and bang, right? So even though it's weird, even though this dude is 6'6", has one of the longest arms in the sport of boxing, certainly the longest arm at 154, he wants to get and box inside the phone booth in the middle of the ring and just go blow for blow, whether it's uppercuts, power right hooks, whether it's straight jabs he's throwing. He's learned to use the jab now more, but he wants to fight inside the ring. So anytime you see a Sebastian Fundora fight, you might want to turn it in because anything you want to see in boxing, you're going to see it from Sebastian Fundora. Either he's going to get knocked out or he's going to knock somebody out because he's standing in the middle of the ring going blow for blow, making that worth it. So make sure you guys catch one of his fights next time they come on. But he won. He beat up Booker, knocked him out in the fourth round, which was a no contest at that point, right? We got coming up in a couple of months, May 2nd, we're going to have Ryan Garcia take on Rolly Romero. We're going to have Devin Haney take on Jose Ramirez. And then Teofimo Lopez takes on Arnold Barbosa, which is going to be a good fight. They're fighting. This is a Friday, May 2nd, because Canelo is fighting that Saturday, May 3rd in Saudi Arabia. So they're opening up the days. They're sharing the days around. Before I get out of here, actually, fans, I want to know what you guys think about does opening day still carry the same weight as it once did? I grew up in Seattle. The baseball team here stinks, actually. They stink out loud. So I know there's been just from hearing the talk to the clamor, everybody wanted to go to opening day. Well, the opening day is more like a community event, and maybe you'll watch what's going on the field. But opening day, I've never been impressed by opening day or excited about opening day. I can say that unequivocally. But growing up here, it was hard for me to be a baseball fan. But I can understand that somebody else feels differently. How do you guys feel? Does opening day still carry the same weight? Maybe in LA, because they just come off a championship, they're going to celebrate their ring. And obviously they have Shohei, they got Mookie, they got all these stars coming back to defend their title. So I think that carries a different weight than the Seattle Mariners playing tomorrow night because it's going to be nondescript. I don't think it's bigger than the Sweet 16, the Major League Opening Day. Is it bigger than the Sweet 16, the tournament that's going to happen over the weekend? Oh, it's definitely not bigger than the NFL Draft. That's what I tried to have that conversation earlier. It's definitely not bigger than the NFL Draft. Where does Major League Baseball Opening Day rank on your pedestal of must-see or must-attend, most focus on sporting events? I just gave you guys the NFL Draft. I know it's behind that without question. I think it's more equivalent to the Sweet 16, maybe behind the Sweet 16. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think on that. Yeah, I mean, who are those? I guess those are the ones going to the game, huh? Yeah, opening day. I mean, opening day never meant that much to me. I would be more interested in maybe Major League All-Star game. Maybe that would be a little bit more meaningful to me. But I didn't think so about just opening day games. But what games are you guys looking forward to on the Sweet 16? Are there any games you guys looking forward to this weekend, or are you guys looking forward to going to opening day in the Major League Baseball? Which one of you guys are you guys looking forward to most? Because I'm not a diehard, so Boots. Are you doing opening day, Boots? As always, fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning into the Voice of the Fans podcast. Do this is become a labor of love, fans. So we'll keep creating good content for us. Make sure you check us out on our Substack, as I mentioned earlier. Also, make sure you check us out. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Let us know where you're checking in from, and how you're enjoying the show. Where you're listening to the show at. How you're enjoying the show. We appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. It costs you nothing but some effort. And the quote I'm gonna leave you guys with tonight is from Mr. Steve Jobs. The only way to do good. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Find something you love to do, fans. Keep doing that thing. You'll be happier. You'll be better at what you do. You'll be happier. The world will be a better place. Find something you love to do, fans. And you'll do better work. If you heard the saying, find something you love to do, you never work a day in your life, that's factual. Again, I wish you guys the best. Find something you love to do. Enjoy this week, fans. Get at me, @_voice of the fans on Twitter, @_voice of the fans on Twitter. Let me know some story topics that you want to discuss. Let me know what games you're watching this weekend, how you're watching the games. Let me know how you're watching the podcast. However you're enjoying the podcast, let me know. South Carolina. Oh, you talking about the girls? Yeah, that'll be a good one, right? South Carolina versus Maryland. The TCU. Okay, tune into those games as well. Thank you, SB, for chiming in. Again, as always, fans, I want to thank you guys for making our voice your choice. Have a great evening. Talk to you next week.